Okay, last class we did factoring. This is factoring completely. It's just taking what we did last class, taking it another step forward. Okay, what the problem will say factor the polynomial completely. Okay, it'll say factor the polynomial completely. They'll almost always say that on the ones that we're going to do, because the ones we did last time, we just factored. Okay, we found the things that multiplied together to make the answer that we got. But if you see where it says completely, that's kind of like a code word that usually in this case will mean factor out the GCF first. Okay, so you'll see a problem, it'll be something like this. Okay, x cubed minus 4x squared minus 5x. Okay, now this looks kind of like what we factored last class. Okay, but it starts with x cubed. Remember what we factored last class was trinomials, but it started with x squared. Okay, and anytime it starts with one that's a degree higher than x squared, I would try to factor out the GCF, the greatest common factor, if you can. Okay, so this one's a 1 is the coefficient. 1, -4, and -5. Is there any greatest common factor between those? Right. Just a 1, right? Okay, with the numbers, the coefficients. 1 doesn't count, okay, because you can get a 1 out of everything. What about the x's? Right? Can you factor an x from every single one? Yes, at least how many? 1, right? Because the last term has 1x. So let's factor 1x from all of them. Okay, if I do that, take an x out front, what am I left with here? X squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, good. And we should usually, the last number should be a constant that doesn't have an x with it, because we took all the x's we could take. Okay, even if it has more, if it starts with like 5, 4, 3, you would take all 3. Take as many as you can from the lowest one. Okay, so we factored out the GCF, it's x. Now what's left inside here is a trinomial that we can break down further. Okay, we can break it down like we did last time. Okay, so we're going to factor like we did last class. Start with, what's our first step? Do y'all remember from last time? All right, label, right? I hear y'all saying A times C, but first we got to figure out what A is. What's A? 1. Good. Good memory, y'all. 1 is A. B is -4. And C is -5. This is in the correct order. All right, most of these will be in the correct order, I would think. Okay, then we do what times what? A times C. 1 times -5. Okay, -5. We make a little T-chart. And then we want those to add up to what? B, -4. Good. Okay, and this one's kind of an easy one because 5 and -5 is pretty easy, but I'm still just going to remind you, if you want to find the factors of any number, you can go to y equals and take that number and divide by x. Right, and that will give you all the factors. I like this way because you're not going to miss any, okay? Or you're not going to make a mistake because the calculator is not going to make a mistake. Okay, so I'll do second graph. All right, 0 should always say error this way because you can't divide by 0. Okay, then I got 1 and -5. And the only other one is 5 and -1. Okay, because 5 is an easy one. It only has 2 factors, 1 and 5. So what's 1 plus -5? -4. Okay, 5 plus -1 is +4. Okay, so we're looking for -4. We could have stopped with the first one, but I just want to point out, if you get one that's the right number but the wrong sign, try changing the negative. Okay, this one's got -1. If we change it to -5, that gives you the right number and the right sign, the correct sign. Okay, so this is what we need, 1 and -5. Okay, and this is the part that people always ask me about. Okay, so I think this is the part that's most confusing. We're trying to see what did B start out as, because in our answer, it's 2 numbers added together. Okay, but we want to break it apart and so that we can have 4 terms so we can factor by grouping. So it started out as these two numbers. Okay, so we're breaking out that middle one to plus 1x and minus 5x. Okay, because 1 minus 5 still equals negative 4. Right, and then a and c stay the same. Right, and I just bring down my a and my c. Also, we factored out our GCF. I'm going to leave it out here at the top for now, and I'm just going to have to remember to bring it down, because if I bring it down right here, it's just like there's going to be too much going on. Okay, I don't want to get it too confused with what I'm doing right here. Okay, so I'm going to remember this later and bring it down at the end. So now I have 4 terms. What do I do now? Parentheses. Okay, and we call this factor by grouping. We're grouping them, put in the groups in parentheses. Okay, 2 little groups. They're really pairs, but it's called grouping. I don't know why. Pairing would be a better name. But yes, we put a little parentheses. And remember, I said I would cover up one of them and just look at the second set so that, again, you keep from getting confused. Right? X squared and 1x. What's the greatest common factor? X, right? This one doesn't have a number. This one's just 1, so we can pull an X out front. Right, and what would be left inside? X plus 1, right? We took away 1x from here. We took away 1x from here. That leaves me with x plus 1. And then we do it again with this group. Negative 5x minus 5. Negative 5. That leaves me with x. What's negative 5 divided by negative 5? 1. Positive 1. Good. Okay. And one way to check is what's inside the parentheses. You want it to be the same. So if you've done your steps correctly, what's inside both sets of parentheses should be the same.